There's been a lot of things that I've kept to myself. I haven't really said my opinion on it because I didn't want to ruffle the feathers. I didn't want to make anyone upset. I wanted to stay in my lane for the stands and why? Why? Y'all don't stay in y'all lane. In some ways, I want to thank y'all for saying exactly what you think about me, because it's given me the freedom to start saying exactly what I think about everything else. Hello, everybody. How are you doing on this fine Saturday? Happy New Year. I have my little New Year's headband, but I'm going to save that for my next video. So this video, probably a long time coming. I've actually avoided making it for a very long time because I just didn't want to get in these vibrations. I didn't want to put myself in the mental, emotional state to even have to talk about it because I thought it was a waste of my energy. But after recent happenings and after recent discoveries and goings on in the movement, I don't think that there really is a way to continue on in like a unified front without me getting a couple things off my chest, because moving forward, I'm going to be handling myself and this channel a little bit differently based on a little bit different set of criteria. So the Free Britney movement, I think the best place to start here is to remind you, or for, the new people here to tell you, I got involved in the Free Britney movement back in 2020. It was kind of like right as all the lockdowns and things had started. And at the time, I didn't even have a TikTok. I did not even have a TikTok account, but I'd come across an Instagram reel. Actually, it was by Baldy Yachty, and she was talking about some conspiracy theory about Howie Mandel. I get on TikTok basically to like look into this Howie Mandel thing. And I quickly am suggested a video of Britney Spears spinning in a circle with a yellow shirt on, holding flowers, with Moonwalk Mars, who's another content creator. He was, I don't know if he still does. Basically, Moonwalk Mars was saying Britney's not free. She can't leave her house. She's a prisoner in her own home, all this stuff. And said that she didn't have any human rights. And I thought that sounded like nonsense. I thought that sounded impossible and like a conspiracy theory. And so I did what I know how to do, which was go to the court documents. When I went to the court documents, I was shocked and awed and appalled because they said Britney had dementia on these court documents. They never gave any evidence of this dementia. There was already a growing Free Britney movement. I had read some news articles, not many, just a couple, about Britney making some statement about all is well, but she had to stop working because her dad had a colon issue. She was still in a conservatorship. And I started to offer up those documents to the creators that I had known about, which were the TikTok creators at the time. Well, fast forward, I quickly become a little bit of a central figure of the Free Britney movement because I was offering up an area of expertise and a way of teaching it that nobody was doing yet. There were accounts who were offering up legal documents and legal analysis, but no one was going on camera and explaining it. Then shortly after I arrived in the Free Britney movement, new court documents were continuously being filed. No one really knew how to read them other than a few law accounts, which were, again, not going on camera, not making videos to read them, not explaining them. So as I'm releasing these TikToks and eventually going on Instagram Live, I start getting added into these group chats. And when I'm getting added into the group chats, I start to make like personal friendships with people. I start going to rallies. I went to the first one I went to was in New York, which is close to where I live in New Jersey. And I quickly, within a few months, started to develop personal relationships with people. Friendships. Consider them to be friends. Now, at the time I joined the movement, I've said this many times, I was not a Britney Spears fan. Like, it wasn't like I'm a concerned fan and I care about Britney as a fan. I was concerned as a human rights activist and as an up-and-coming lawyer and stuff like that, that the Constitution could be flouted so vagrantly. But I was not a fan. I think I had 2 Britney Spears songs in my iTunes, and it was like Piece of Me. You want a piece of me? And 3. 1, 2, 3 or something. But the fans, they had a lot of information I did not have at the time when I first started 2.5 years ago. When I first started 2.5 years ago, I didn't know all the background, and she had 2 residencies, and this one was this year and this one was that year. And it's this, she was with Jive Records and she went to RCA, that turned into Sony, and Larry Rudolph and Adam Lieber and Miley Cyrus and Luther. I didn't know all of that stuff. Now, fast forward, to 2020, what we're almost in 2023. I know a lot of that stuff just because I've learned it through fans and through also my own research at this point. But in the very beginning of my involvement in the movement, I didn't know all that stuff. And I relied heavily on fans and other activists who had done the research before I got there into the already existing movement. I relied on them and they relied on me. And it was really cool because we were supporting each other and we were offering up our particular area of expertise to each other for free, expecting nothing in return except that we were all going toward a common goal to free Britney Spears from this unconstitutional conservatorship. Now, in these group chats, I found myself often feeling pressured to talk about people or gossip about people. And again, the fans, I was very deferential to. I kind of was like, well, they know more than me. So like, for example, in the group chats, people would be talking about Jordan Miller. And they were like, well, he's a Team Con plant and he works with Larry Rudolph. He lives in Vegas and so does Larry Rudolph. It's people talking about Jordan Miller. But at the time, Jordan Miller had never done nothing to me. I didn't even know the man. I didn't know him. So it was like, I didn't have much to offer into a gossip discussion about him. For example, I think my deference at the beginning of the movement sort of shielded me from a lot of the drama in my first year to year and a half of participation. Because whenever somebody would push back on me in the group chat or publicly, I would fold. I would say, oh, well, I don't know. Y'all know I don't know anything. But after a while, I did know things. I started to know things and I started to have opinions. And that was whenever I realized that there was a lot of thought policing and coercion to have a certain opinion in these group chats. I'll never forget one of the first times I experienced this personally was, I know the definition, the Department of Homeland Security's definition for human trafficking. Now, fast forward, this was before Britney came out and said that she compared her situation to sex trafficking in California, but it was way before that. I was in a group chat and I said, Britney's situation should be reported to the Department of Homeland Security because it is human trafficking. And I knew that for a fact, that enough of the criteria of the Department of Homeland Security's definition of human trafficking were met in Britney's case to warrant it being reported. I knew it with certainty. And there was somebody who, from what I could tell at the time, was pretty new to the movement. Now they're a little bit of a central figure. But they were trying to argue with me. And they said it was a reach. In the group chat, I said, I think that is a reach to say it's human trafficking. Well, it's not too much of a reach. Because Britney Spears went a step further and said that her situation compared it to sex trafficking. But that was just, the first time that I was like, oh, okay, so if I have an opinion that someone doesn't like, they're going to insult me. But it was mild. It was a slow trickle, I'll say. There were other situations like that. Another thing that I noticed in these group chats, and I was in several of them, because what would happen is somebody would piss off the group chat, then the whole group chat would start a new group chat and then leave out that one person. So it'd be like this decoy group chat over here, and it was like dwindle, and then it was just always a new group chat, and I was always getting added to them. I don't know if I was in everyone, probably wasn't, but to this day right now, just fast forward into today, I don't go in them things no more because it's a trap for your energy, a trap for getting receipts to go share with people. It's just a trap. I just don't go in them no more. But I noticed in the group chats when I was in them, when I was active in them, is that a lot of the phraseology, the terminology would be we. It was like to come to some common consensus on what we thought, and then we would go out and disseminate what we thought into the larger Free Britney community on social media. And so it'd be like, what do we think about this new lawyer? What do we think about Bessemer? What do we think about Jody? What do we think about Sam Ingham? You know, Sam, the original lawyer, Adam, whatever his damn name was, Streisand or whatever. And I realized, like, a lot of the stuff that I would put my opinion in and be like, this is what I think, but it just never really felt right to be like, what do we think about it? And I mean, I probably even said it here and there because it seemed like what other people were saying. I was just trying to be in the movement and be in the, community or whatever. But like, it always kind of bugged me with this we thing. Instead of like, what do y'all think about it? And then we can all discuss it. It was like, what do we think? And it was always like scary for the one person who was the outlier. It would be like other people would go to the side and be talking about them for having a different opinion. Like, I think it's probably pretty normal and pretty common in like stan communities and fandoms and stuff, but like I had never really seen that and I'd never been a part of that. But I was trying to be a part of the Free Britney movement because to me it was like a disability rights activist movement. And I could see how the things that happened to Britney were wrong. And I wanted to work together with people who shared a common goal of freeing Britney Spears from this conservatorship. There was one thing that happened along the way. And I might have said this at the beginning of the video. I don't know. I actually had recorded a whole nother video before this and it was on the wrong microphone. So I'm doing it again. So I don't remember what I said in that one versus this one, but I don't really want to be making this video, but I feel like I need to make it. I need to say it one time. I need to get it out and then I need to just move forward accordingly. But when I first decided I was going to make this video, I was like very hurt and upset because I had been sent some screenshots of people who I considered to be my friends talking about me. It wasn't the first time that I had been sent evidence of people I thought were my friends talking about me. And it wasn't even the first time that I had been sent evidence of this particular group of people gossiping about me. I had actually been sent evidence of this before and either ignored it or, at one point it warranted a discussion because it was leaked publicly that, they were talking about me in like a meeting, like audio recording. Someone leaked it. Lisa McCarley was there. I'm not going to say any names. But anyway, so when I first decided when I first realized and decided, you know what, I do need to make this video, I was very hurt, very hurt. And if you follow me on Instagram, you probably can pinpoint about exactly when I found out. I am one to wear my emotions on my sleeves. And I was like, I'm going to expose and I'm going to name names and I'm going to da-da-da. And I'm glad I waited a couple days and really thought on it and sat on it before I made this video because I ain't going to name no names. I don't need to. That would be acting from a place of like ego. It's not the right vibes. So I'm not going to put myself into the position to vibrate at those frequencies, but I do feel like there is one, particular story that I will share with y'all because it really changed not only my outlook on life and people, but it changed me. It changed, like, I think my brain chemistry, this experience that I had that I'm about to tell y'all about. And now these particular people, I'm not naming names because it's just not necessary, but I was very, very good friends with them, or so I thought. I consider them to be truly my friends. Like, one of them even lived in my state. I had invited this person to my house. And I would be on FaceTime with them for hours and hours. And we'll call them A and B. So like, A and B over here were my friends. And I had a lot of respect for them because they knew things about activism and grassroots movements and things that I did not know. This was really my first big activist movement. And now, I mean, fast forward 2023, I basically started 2 of them at this point, Free BAM, Justice for Amanda Rabb. But at the time that I'd become friends with A and B, over here, they knew all about movements. They had been in, Black Lives Matter and like, I think they had done some stuff for me too. One of them had been involved in like the ACLU. It was like, I really respected them and thought they were cool. And so, I was, again, very deferential to them. And we would get on FaceTime and stuff, and I really loved them. I really loved them. Like, we would joke around. We would talk about all kinds of stuff, therapy. Whenever the whole thing went down with Lou Taylor coming to my law firm and all that, like, I confided in them. They were some of the only people I even spoke to for the month that I had gone dark on social media. And I trusted them as my friends. And I thought that they were my personal friends who I had met through the Free Britney movement. And they were. And to be honest, they were. Because to me, they were my friends. And even to this day, if they really needed something, they could call me and I would do it for them because I consider them to be my friends. But these particular people did not like one of the other leaders in the movement. And we would get on FaceTime and stuff, and they would constantly bring this person up. Let's call this person, let's give them a name. We'll call that person Blue. I just saw something on my desk. I don't want to add more names to the mix because I don't want anybody guessing anything. Let's call the person Blue because I have this blue highlighter. It's what I'm naming them after. Here's Blue. So I knew that, let's see, A and B. Here's A and B over here. I knew A and B. These are my two friends. I knew these two. I just pulled up two markers. It don't mean nothing. It's just two. I just randomly pulled. So I knew A and B did not like this other leader over here, Blue. But I like Blue. Even to this day, Blue is my friend. I like Blue. But I knew they didn't like him. So they would go talking about Blue. And I didn't really know what to do because I liked them. They were my friends. Probably like more closer at that time, my friends, than Blue. But Blue had never done anything wrong to me. And I had nothing against Blue. And me and Blue had, and all of us, I thought, had something in common of mutually wanting to free Britney Spears. Now, these two over here did not agree with how Blue was doing Blue's activism. I don't know what Blue thought about these two because I was really trying to stay out of it. But I started feeling a little triangulated. And I started feeling pressure by these two to, let me just pick two different colors because I know y'all are going to try to read into it. I'm going to pick colors that are not possibly conceivable as humans. Okay. So these two. Because I know y'all are going to try to read into it. Okay. So these two over here, they switch colors now. All right. So I started to feel a little triangulated. Like these two over here trying to make me pick a side. And I didn't like that feeling because I really liked these people and respected them. But I really liked this person and respected them too. And one day I log onto Twitter and Blue has tweeted a whole entire thread about stuff. But when I logged in and when I saw at the very top of the tweet, at the very top of my Twitter feed, I only saw one of Blue's tweets, one out of context from the rest of the thread. And I didn't read the whole thread, I just saw that one tweet. And because I like this person because they're my friend, I liked the tweet. What did the tweet say? It said something like, one day when all this is over, you know, I'm going to tell my full story about the whole Free Britney movement and what I've had to endure. And I think a lot of y'all are going to be very surprised. And I identified with that and I agreed with that. I feel the same way. And so I liked that tweet. Now, apparently that one tweet, like I said, was part of a whole entire thread of a bunch of tweets that these two did not like. And, this one in particular really didn't like. And so in the group chat, of course, we had one on one of those apps or whatever that I've definitely been removed from now. These two kind of like triangulated me and said, we really don't appreciate, especially this one right here. We really don't appreciate that you have liked that thread because that thread is about us or something. And again, I didn't see the thread. Even to this day, I couldn't even tell you what the thread said. But they got mad at me. They were like, you can't believe you liked it. Like, it's a public stance again. I don't even exactly remember, but I remember it was like, all right, well, we've come to the crossroads where I'm being kind of forced to pick like a friend's group. And I didn't like that. I still to this day don't think that was cool. But around and about the same time, there was also another simultaneous push going on about profiting off the movement. And I just honestly have always kept my opinion to myself about it because it seems like another one of those dog whistle hot button issues. Like you talk about it one way or the other, you're canceled for life. It's just like, there's no winning. And I also didn't feel like it was the point. The point was free Britney. The point was Britney's autonomy. The point was Britney, conservatorship abuse, disability rights, women's rights, whatever. And I just felt like it was beside the point about this profiting off the movement. Also, I knew that like personally, I wasn't making a whole bunch of money. I mean, maybe maybe $100, maybe $200 on a video here and there, like a really good one, over the course of a few weeks I would make. So it wasn't like I was profiting very much off anything. You know what I mean? And then there were some people who were maybe profiting, but they were offering something up. Like people would be making merch or shirts or whatever. And it was like, maybe they were profiting a few dollars, but they were doing work. They were doing labor. They were making the shirts. They were designing the shirts. They were using their time, their computer, their energy, their printer, their stuff. And it was better, in my opinion, than buying it from Team Con or whatever and profiting the conservatorship. So it was like, but again, there was differences of opinion, and I do respect and am open to all the different opinions there. But I personally, at the same time, just to remind y'all, this whole Twitter thing just went on, right? At the same time, all that's going on, there's more and more people focusing on stuff in a way that where they're like kind of demanding that we do and don't talk about certain things. It's like, don't talk about Matt Rosengart or whatever it was at the time, whatever it was, don't talk about this. It hurts Britney. Dude, you have to talk about this. I don't know why that surprise witness hasn't made a video about blah, blah, blah. And then it wasn't just like, oh, I wish surprise witness would make a video about something. No. It was like, she hasn't made a video, so she's Team Con. It was just like unnecessary drama, chaos, vitriol. It was just like being in the eye of a hurricane and watching the houses crash by, papers and the documents and the chaos just all around. And it was like, I don't want anything to do with it. But it was kind of starting to snowball that it was like more and more and more things I just felt like I either couldn't do, couldn't think, couldn't say, or that I was being demanded to do or demanded to say. And it all kind of came to a head whenever Babs and Tess, the Britney's Graham podcast hosts, were doing some like meet and greet or something, and they were charging money for the meet and greet. And there was apparently like going to be, I don't know. I don't exactly remember. I don't really have an opinion on it one way or the other. I could see both sides, right? People were like, who are they to charge money, for this meet and greet? And then the other people were like, well, I'm paying the money for it, so what is it to you if I spend my money on it? And I agree with that. But it just kind of stirred up this whole hornet's nest of people just going a little bit insane, talking about what people need to do and don't need to do and talk about and don't need to talk about. And I personally was feeling very pressured. And it was all this stuff about, profit this, profit that. People shouldn't make any money at all on it. And it's like, that doesn't make logical sense. Every day when you go to work for your job, not helping nobody, not doing anything for anything in society other than daddy capitalism, you expect to get paid for that. So if people who are not even expecting to get paid are just opening donations or selling something if someone wants to buy it, that didn't logically add up to me. It made no logical sense to me. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like a tweet or something somewhere that was just so unreasonable that I was actually, I was doing a meditation or a breathing or something. And in this, like, kind of like, I don't know if this ever happens to y'all, but you're kind of like doing a meditation or a breathing or something. And you kind of get like an image in your head that helps you to explain a situation you're in. I don't know, I don't know, vision is kind of esoterical, but yeah, like a mental picture, a mental movie in my head kind of popped up during this breathing meditation one day. It was like a lady. She was standing up at the front of like a room, maybe a lecture hall or something. And all around her, it was just, shit was just flying like a hurricane, like just flying around. And she was just kind of like, it was just so much stuff flying around, and some of it was barely missing her. And she was just like, whoo, like in this meditation vision that I had. And she's like a tall, like sort of statuesque lady. And I guess like in the image, I kind of associated her with me. Like I was like, I think that's kind of like I'm identifying with her in this situation because I felt that way. It's just so much stuff flying. It's like Sam and Matt and Tigers, oh my, and it's just so much. And it's the prophet and the movement and the leaders and it was just so much. And in this like mental like movie in my mind, the lady takes her hands and she just slams them down on the desk in front of her, and she's standing, she says, enough. And when she slammed her hands down like that, like all the shit that was flying around just fell, and it was just still and quiet. I kind of interpreted that as something that I think I like needed to do in a way where it's like, if I don't put my foot down, if I don't slam my hands down in the midst of all of this chaos, it's just going to keep flying around. And who knows, maybe a house hits me in the head. But I can't be a victim of what's flying around. I have to start saying stuff. So all this is still going on, right? Like these people are mad at me. I liked this tweet and all that. And all this other stuff's going on about the profit and the tests and the babs and the $30 and the this and the that. And you shouldn't do this and you should do this. And it's like all these people just making demands on a very small group of us who never asked to be nobody's leader. A very small group of us who never asked. There was never leadership votes. There's never leadership nominations. People just started calling us leaders, and I guess that's what we were. The leaders this, the big accounts that. I'm not an account. I'm a lot of things. I'm a lawyer. I'm an academic. I am an intellectual. I am a human. I'm a person. I'm not an account. I have an account. I have accounts. I'm not an account. And it's just a way to depersonalize. These big accounts need to this, need to that. Blah, blah, blah. This shit's just flying, right? And so I go on Twitter one day and I'm like, you know what? Because I had just talked about how the laws of conservatorships and probate laws come from and are a mutilated strain of the laws of slavery, chattel slavery in the United States specifically, which there have been and continue to be many forms, institutions of, and iterations of slavery to this very day. Human trafficking is a form of slavery. What happened to Amanda Rabb, in my opinion, is a form of slavery. She had an owner who had her rights. She wasn't allowed to make her own decisions. That's slavery. So slavery never did end. It just mutated. And I had been really focusing on that on at least my channel and telling people about, probate laws being a mutated form from slavery and all that. And I tweeted something one day. I said, for a group of people who understand why slavery is bad, which is forced, coerced labor, y'all really do demand a lot of free labor. Because regardless if you like the work that the leaders are doing, you might not like the person who comes fix your air conditioner, but you still got to pay them, right? You can't say, well, I don't like you, so I'm not paying you for your labor. Y'all understand that, right? But you can't understand why someone might be compensated for their labor. And it just got all twisted and mutated. And people were like, oh, BJ's like slavery. Like, it was just people imposing stuff on me that just wasn't true. It just wasn't true. It just wasn't true. It just wasn't true. And particularly, they immediately turned on these people I thought were my friends. They immediately turned on me, did not give me the benefit of the doubt, did not give me good faith, did not say, hey, maybe we should ask her. Maybe we should even tell her. Maybe we should try to tell her why that's... No, nope, none of that. They just started dragging me across the internet. I think even still to this day they do. People I thought were my friends. And that's fine. It's not like they're not entitled to their opinions. They are. But it taught me a very valuable lesson. It taught me that no matter how close you get to somebody or a group, if you say something they don't like and they don't agree with, at any moment, they can turn on you, not just stop being your friend. That would be devastating enough. But they can publicly attempt to use their power, their influence, their platform, their social capital against you to diminish and demean the things that you have done. Not only can they use that against you, but I mean, these people had secrets of mine and they still do to this day. Lucky for me, tell the secrets. I don't give a shit. But like, what if I had told them stuff that I didn't want to get out? I'd be sitting here looking over my shoulder like, oh God, I made them mad. Oh, I got a tippy toe on the eggshell. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But this whole situation really taught me a lot of lessons. Like it taught me like I can't continue to make decisions based on whether somebody's my friend, based on whether I'm gonna hurt somebody's feelings or something like that, because the people ain't worrying about my feelings. Nobody tried to contact me and like sort it out as friends. No, they like did the weird like go on social media and try to cancel the person thing or whatever. And it's like that can work with an enemy or a stranger, but like, oh my God, like I loved these people. I didn't agree with them on a lot of stuff. I didn't agree with them on their opinions on some other people who I also considered friends. I didn't agree with the tactics of trying to triangulate me against, others. But I grieved and mourned the loss of that friendship, of those friendships, because I really thought that was like real friends. And then recently, again, I got sent some more screenshots of people talking about me. And it's like, people are entitled to their opinions, but when it's people that you kind of have like a personal relationship with, it just kind of stings a little bit more. And I feel like I'm having to continue to relearn this lesson over and over. Like, I feel like I'm kind of like, like I'm imagining a spiral staircase where you're like kind of like going around and then like, oh, here's this window with this view. Let me look out. And maybe you can see the top of, a tower or whatever. And you come around the spiral again, you're back at that same window. And now you have a slightly different perspective. You come around again. Oh, same window, but now you're higher and you're kind of going up this spiral, but you keep having to come back to the same lesson. Like, I feel like that's what's happened to me throughout the Free Britney movement, Free Bam, Justice for Amanda Rabb, Where Are Dia Dahlia. I feel like I'm learning the same lesson, but each time I have a little bit different of a perspective. You know what I mean? Like when I quit my job. I quit that job because Lou Taylor came to the law firm, hired them, and then started saying, oh, well, now that I'm a client, you got to stop talking about me. And I realized, okay, well, this is the type of place that, you can buy someone's silence. And I'm not participating in that. I'm not letting people tell me what I can say. So I quit. And then I'm kind of coming around the staircase again. I'm back at the window and it's like, well, now I'm realizing I have to give up my law license because people like this are going to constantly say, oh, I'm going to report you. I'm going to get your law license taken away. No, shutting the fuck up. No, you are not. You are not going to get nothing taken away from me. You are not going to threaten me and tell me that I can't say something that you don't want me to say. And so therefore, I hope you lose your law license. No, fuck you. Take the law license. I don't want it. I don't want any attachments that can be taken away from me or held over my head in order to keep me in compliance. And those were like external, right? External pressures. But now I'm kind of back around this spiral, back at the window again in a little different perspective. And I'm realizing that I have been self-censoring. I have been using as a criteria for what I'm going to and what I'm not going to talk about. I've been using as a criteria if it's going to hurt my friends' feelings, if it's going to cause conflict between me and my friends, if it's going to make them not like me, if it's going to make them publicly turn against me. And I realize now, in order for me to keep scaling the spiral, in order for me to keep going up, I have to pass this checkpoint. And this checkpoint requires me to be okay with hurting my friends' feelings. Even though I don't want to lose friends, I don't want them to be mad at me. But that brings me to my final point. If our friendship is conditioned upon me thinking and saying what you want me to say, that's not a friendship. That is a conditional acquaintance. And while I am happy to have conditional acquaintances, I cannot allow them to dictate my choices. I cannot allow them to dictate my actions, and I will not allow them to dictate how I move forward accordingly. I know my mission, I know my purpose, and I know myself. I will not allow anyone and anyone's opinion of me to dictate how I'm going to proceed moving forward. So as I'm kind of moving forward as an activist, a journalist, and even just personally, I have to keep that in mind. And as far as, you know, if people watching this and they think it applies to them or something like that, I mean, maybe it does. But really, it's no hard feelings. My feelings was hurt. But people I consider my friends, I consider them to be my friends. I will do anything for you. I will be there for you. What I cannot do is continue to coddle people and protect their feelings at the detriment of saying what I know needs to be said. There's some topics that I'm going to be coming out with soon. I'm doing a whole series called Unpopular Opinion. Some of y'all going to be upset. Take the Sam Asghari video that I made recently as a little bit of a preview. And again, I don't think it was really that controversial. But my Lord, even Perez Hilton done came out and addressed the video. Sam Asghari is walking down the street talking to TMZ, saying the same canned answer twice. I mean, I just got to start saying what I want to say. And if it hurts the stands' feelings and the fans' feelings and my friends' feelings, then that's just going to have to be how it's going to have to be. And if me just telling my true opinion that happens to not be your same opinion is enough for you to not be my friend anymore, I don't really think we were ever friends. That's a conditional acquaintance. I encourage people to have their own opinions, and I'm about to be saying mine henceforth. Now, like I said, this is really the last time I want to speak on this. I do not want to harp on this, and I don't plan on making another video about this, hopefully ever again. I've said what I need to say, and really the reason that I'm saying it is because there's been a lot of things that I've kept to myself. I haven't really said my opinion on it because I didn't want to ruffle the feathers. I didn't want to make anyone upset. I didn't want to, you know, overstep my boundaries or I wanted to stay in my lane for the stands and why? Why? Y'all don't stay in y'all lane on the Breathe Heavy. I see what y'all say about me. So in some ways, I want to thank y'all. Thank you very much for saying exactly what you think about me, because it's given me the freedom to start saying exactly what I think about everything else. So I do have a lot of videos coming out. I'll just give y'all a little preview of some of the things. I got a list here. I got like eight things written down here. Opinion on Matthew Rosengart coming out. Might make a little Lynn Spears video. Got video unpopular opinion on the Madonna kiss. Little analysis, little research. Oh, I did find the Steven Tyler court file, so we'll be reading that. That's just going to be a regular one to be expected. I'll be addressing the Perez Hilton TikTok that he recently made about me. Steve-O has come out and addressed Bam's guardianship yet again. And yeah, there's been a few Britney court documents, me reading them. Yeah, and there's a couple of pieces of legislation that I have yet to get to that I'm going to be dissecting and addressing. I know that y'all have been looking forward to that. So in the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.